Hey everyone, welcome to Transforming Hospitality and Navigating the US Dream. I'm John Fingleton from BHospitality Solutions.
And I'm Sarah.
So we wanted to share some advice, some tips, some secrets for anyone who is looking to explore living and working in the USA. Typically J1 visas, H2B visas are pretty most popular. And for right now at the moment, we're pretty much focusing on the H2B visa, isn't it, Sarah? Because that's the one that's in demand for the moment.
Yes, exactly. And especially at this time, because it is really time for people to start getting serious about the application process as the season does start in October.
Yeah, I think I've got about 300 or 400 people who've already come through the application process and are working on their profile assessments and on their video clips. And I've seen the usual one or two comments going up on some of the social platforms. It has to be a scam. There's no way this can be true. Like, how do these clubs pay for all of this? Like, why would they pay for people to come over to the States? And it's like, as even a few people point out, when you land over there and you do those 50 to 60 hours a week, you'll realize it's no scam. It's just a full-time job for pretty affluent clubs who can afford to pay people to come over and do this. So, but hey, we'll take the ones who believe it and we'll help them get over there and hopefully they'll have an enjoyable experience. And who knows, maybe they'll end up like yourself, married and living the good life over in the USA.
Yeah. And that's what started my passion to start sharing knowledge about this visa, is because I was one of those people who thought it was a scam too, and realized on the other side that it's definitely not a scam. The working hours are definitely true, but the enjoyment and friendships that you make out of the experience were so worth it for me.
So let me ask you a question. Why do people think it's a scam?
I think because other companies that you apply to work abroad usually ask you to pay a fee. So actually, a year prior to me joining the H2B visa, I was offered a job to work abroad in Spain with one of the travel company that invite you over to work in their hotel. And they wanted me to pay a fee up front. They also had a really long contract. And the contract stated that if I had not stayed the whole contract that was stated from the start of summer until, let's say, the end of October, that I would owe the company money back for what they have invested into me, into training, into flight, into accommodation. So I actually could end up in debt after that. And also the fee, the hourly rate was so low. And that's because they do offer you that accommodation. But if you don't stay your contract, you'll end up owing them money. So I think maybe other people have applied for similar things in the past and have seen that and chose not to do it. And then they come across an opportunity like the H2B visa, where the company wants to sponsor, well, the visa, you get your flight, you get your accommodation sorted for you, you get your transport organized for you, and a small fee comes out of your paycheck for housing and transport. But other than that, no cost from the cost out of your pocket to join the visa.
I suppose I'm probably showing my age here a little bit, but we didn't have so many of those opportunities when I was going for J1s. What would you sort of say to people then who are sort of looking at it, are on the fence? Like, to me, sometimes I wonder, are they calling it a scam because they actually don't want to have to go through putting in the effort of doing a profile assessment, doing video clips, showing up for interviews, and it's easier to just say, oh, this must be a scam, as actually having to put in the work to secure the interview or secure the job that it was to apply to in the first place?
That could be an aspect of it, that maybe it's not something they 100% wanted to do in the first place. But I think for the most part, it does just sound too good to be true that everything's going to be organized for you until you start to go through the process and realize that there is work to do on your end as well. Like you said, you are going to have to go through with the interviews, with the paperwork, and with, all of that beforehand. Then you're going to realize it's not a scam.
And as everyone always says, and when you're working 60 hours a week over in Florida during the summertime, you'll definitely know it's not a scam. So one of the things we didn't cover previously was the various different roles that are available. People feel that they need to be working in the hospitality industry to apply for a H2B, or they need to have a qualification to apply to a H2B, or they need to be from a certain country to apply for a H2B. And what I've found over the years, and from speaking to most of the clubs that we work with, is It's nothing really to do with your qualifications. It's more to do with personality and attitude. But then when we get into the roles they look for, they're predominantly looking for people who have an understanding of hospitality, customer service, and either want to be in the food and beverage departments, which can consist of bartenders, but mostly mixologists. And they sort of tend to, and again, it's one of the things we spend a lot of time trying to explain to people who apply to us. A bartender in America doesn't pull pints. A bartender in America pretty much makes cocktails, and those cocktails aren't porn star martinis or Sex on the Beach. They're a little bit more sophisticated. They're a bit more old school. They're definitely into the Manhattans, the martinis, the Tom Collinses, the whiskey sours, the old fashions. So you need to really have a working knowledge of making those drinks. You need to have some level of an understanding there's more than just red or white wine. There's varietals of wine. And very little end of it is the bottle beer, not even draft beer, the bottle beer side of it. A lot of the time you'll have people apply to us for a bartender position, but they've only been working in their local pub pouring pints. And I'm like, you're not going to get an offer as a mixologist, but you could be somebody who likes to play club football and you're definitely going to have an opportunity to go as a reckitt. Or you might be somebody who within the bar has been used to clearing or resetting tables or running food to tables when it's busy or drinks. So you could be an assistant server. You mightn't have the skill set to be a server, but there's loads of different options within the food and beverage teams. And what have you noticed from being over there, Sarah, when it comes to, I suppose, people trying to figure out what positions are available or they're most suited to?
Yeah. Oftentimes, I think a lot of us have to almost what feels like take a step down from our current position at times. Like if we are working as a bartender or as a server already, or I'm looking to still get that opportunity because we are now applying to work for what may be a more upscale and sophisticated club, and which will have more skills necessary as well. Because the visa is such a high demand visa and more people are applying, I would say be open-minded to go into a different position that may not be your first priority. I know many people who even do not have experience in the restaurants who want to work in restaurants, that they've gone in first as bussers who are clearing tables, or have gone in first as housekeeping, like outdoor housekeeping in one of my seasons, or have gone in as front desk staff, and then have quickly grown throughout the seasons to progress onto different opportunities as well. Someone that already did have experience in working in a bar and making cocktails, but then they should be a good candidate to get that job role still. But there may be a more higher demand for people who want that position as well. And every club only has a certain amount of positions available, so you may not get your first voice. But it depends on what's most important to you. Is it important to get experience, to get your foot in the door and to be able to grow? Or is it important for you to go straight into the position that you want?
Let me ask you this question then, somebody who's been over there, because obviously I very much try and share all of the information I can with people who are looking into it so they know what to expect and what's ahead of them. I always sort of advise to people, if it's your first H2B and you've never been over working for any of the country clubs, there is no such thing as which one is best. They're all fabulous. They're all amazing. They're all going to knock your socks off when you see the other scale and size of them. And then when you start getting involved in that training and development and just being part of a team, living in the apartments, getting to socialize, getting to work together. I think for me, if I was back in my 20s, I would be happy to accept any position with any club to get my foot in the door of being over in the state working with the country clubs. Do I like a bigger scale club like Boca West where there's maybe 6,000 to 7,000 members and there's 7 different clubhouses? Or do I prefer a smaller scale operation like maybe the Oaks where there's 500 or 600 members and there's one clubhouse and there's maybe 20 people or 30 people going over the international team as opposed to 450 going to Boca West? Assumption?
Yeah, so before I joined the H2B visa, I was actually working as a personal trainer, and the position that I took was front desk attendant. So it was a different position I took than what I was actually working at the time. But I was open to take it because I wanted to enjoy a new experience. My main goal where I wanted to live somewhere that was warm and spoke English. And the opportunity of working abroad just fell in my lap to work over in Florida. So I took it, and I did actually end up progressing into other positions, and found an interest and passion in hospitality, more so in the service and bartending end of it as I did continue on the journey. Yeah, and I know many other people do come over as bussers who are more so clearing the table, and then they progress throughout the next season to be a server and take a step over in that position as well. So there is definitely a lot of opportunity to grow, because a lot of the clubs have such a great training program as well. Which brings up, I'm interested to know from your perspective as well, because I know you talk to a lot of clubs, who you think a good candidate would be to apply.
Yeah, I mean, it's personality and attitude. These clubs are looking for somebody who understands first and foremost that they are going over to be part of a team, and they're expected to be a good team member. And it's even like I say to people, if you want to have the opportunity of securing a summer club going up to New York, to Boston, to Chicago, you have to be what they call deemed to be good for the program. And being good for the program is somebody who shows up to work bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, not hungover, tired, and smelling like a brewery from partying too hard. It's somebody who's taking on board the training and really trying to put it to use and deliver that level of service that the members are expecting. It's not about being the best in the job. It's just somebody who every day can be seen to be trying their hardest. That's all the clubs really look for. After that, it's about somebody who is a good team member, is supporting their team member, because people are going to have good days and bad days. It's not all sunshine and roses over in Florida. There's days where it can be really stressful. It can be tiring. It can be you're in the middle of that Christmas to New Year's period, and maybe you're working your 14th or 15th day straight, and you're just wrecked and you're missing home. And like, you need your team members around you to sort of put their arm around you and remind you, look, we're all in it together. We get through it. Tomorrow will be another day. And definitely it's somebody who understands this is a full-time job you're going to. Like, these country clubs shell out anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000 per person to bring you over to complement their team, to be able to deliver this level of service to their members, because that's what they need for their business to succeed. So it's not like a H2B is I'm going on a holiday and I'm going to do a little bit of work, or sure, I'll show up when I want to show up. It's so much different than back here in Europe, where we sort of have this mentality that you'll arrive into work tired or later, but hungover. And as your supervisor, I'll roll my eyes, I'll puff out my cheeks, I'll give out to you. But ultimately, I'll suck it up and put up with it, because A, I don't want to have to do your job for you, and I'm short-staffed enough as it is. So we'll just get on with it, and we won't do anything about it. Over there, they literally operate 3 strikes and you're finished. And if you are somebody who isn't there for those right reasons and isn't there to work hard and be a good team member, you definitely will probably end up home before the 8 months is over. You definitely won't be somebody who gets recommended to some of the clubs up in New York and Boston and Chicago. So it's really all about attitude and personality. That's what they look for all the time. And then maybe I show my age. To me, you go there saying, like, you're going over to some of the most prestigious country clubs in the States. Like, you need to be clean-cut professional. Like, you need to show up for interviews, you know, ideally for guys in a suit. And it's amazing how many guys I say it and they go, I'm like, yeah, like, definitely a shirt and tie and trousers and shoes, not jeans, runners and a hoodie. Like, that's not cutting the mustard. And for the females, like, definitely it's what you would wear if you were going to a professional interview face to face, be it you're on Zoom. Like, that's what the members are looking for. That's what their clubs expect. But unfortunately, they're not going to hire somebody who had pink, blue or purple hair. Like, as wrong as that might be, they're just not going to make an offer to those people. So, you know, it's definitely very much the clean-cut professional look that you need to be able to show you have. When you're outside of work, you can be whoever you want to be, you know, be yourself, but inside of work, that's what's expected. So yeah, definitely 80, 90% of it is personality and attitude all the time.
Yeah, the same. And I think that's what's made the best seasons as well, not only for the employer and the company, but also for the employee. Like you touched on, when it gets really busy, especially around Christmas time, maybe it's the employee first time being away from home, and maybe they're working a long 16-hour shift. But at the end of the day, they can all get together and later on after work and have a little celebration or go to their local pub and be there for each other. And they almost take on the role of being each other's family while they're away as well, which makes it a great situation for both the employees and the employer as well.
100%. And again, I suppose it goes back to what we were talking about earlier on. Like, you know, I'm always amazed by this. It's a scam. It's too good to be true. And I'm like, if you look and you listen to what a lot of people who've been on the programs before will share, and be it on their own socials, or we'll try and share them on our socials, like October, November, December is full on. Like, it's intense. It's hectic. That alone will prove to anybody this is no scam. And this is why these clubs are investing the money they are into bringing you over there, because it's like 14, 15, 16 hours a day for 10, 11, 12, some clubs 15 days straight. And people will say, oh my God, that's not legal. That can't be right. Surely you've got rights. That's the job. That's what you're signing up for. So, you know, if you sign up to a H2B visa, it's definitely a full-time job, and you will be working 50 to 60 hours during that 6-week window. But once you get past sort of New Year's Eve, it tapers off, it quietens down, it gets a lot more manageable, and you definitely then get some time back to go and enjoy yourself.
Okay, and I have a question for you, because I know we are at the time where people are interviewing and they already are starting to connect with you and go through the process. And I get a lot of questions about how to do well in an interview, or how to have a good resume that's going to get them through to the next step. And I'm curious as to, like, what do you look for in with someone's resume and with how they show up to an interview? What are the points that would stand out which they would get through to the next stage?
Yeah, I mean, good question. I'm always amazed, like, the amount, we do a lot of advertising and a lot of, you know, work with Indeed and stuff. The amount of people that just send me a 1-page Indeed logo, and like, you need to put together a resume. Again, if you want to avail of this, it's too good to be true. It has to be a scam opportunity to go and live and work in the States for 8 months and have everything paid for. They're definitely going to expect you to put in the effort and energy to actually put a resume together that shows both your schooling background and shows your experience definitely in customer service and hospitality. I just had somebody today ping me to tell me they'd applied, but they haven't updated their resume with their current experience, which is working in a 5-star hotel. And I'm like, why wouldn't, like, you're telling me in a message, you know yourself, this is great experience, this is exactly what the country clubs are looking for. Why wouldn't you spend the time to update your CV and put that onto it? That could be the difference between you getting an interview and you not getting an interview. So sometimes I think, for me, there's a touch of, I don't know, laziness, that people don't really put in the effort that they should into actually presenting themselves best that they can for the opportunities. Now, a couple of years ago, we started using a couple of pieces of software, one being a personality assessment. It's like 8 minutes, it's multiple choice, it's very simple to do. And again, it just helps us bolster some stuff, as in how conscientious somebody is. So when somebody scores really high on their levels of perseverance or conscientiousness, like, well, it's like, I'm not too sure, will Sarah see through the 8 months? And I'm able to say, but her score shows 90% conscientious and perseverance. They're like, oh yeah, good point. Yeah, definitely, let's make her an offer. And then we introduced, you know, another little piece of software where we have people record some video clips. And it's amazing, 70% of the people who apply to me won't record video clips. But yet they're more than happy to go on TikTok and do a silly little dance on TikTok, but they won't jump onto a platform like this and literally record 4 simple answers. One being, tell us something about yourself, like your hobbies, your interests. What should I do? You know, tell us how you're going to feel living away from home. And then the last one typically is something simple like, what's your 3 to 5 year career plan? Now, hardly anyone gets 3 to 5 year career plan. And I'm like, that's fine. But at least the first one, I'd be able to say, hey, I'm John. I live down here in Kildare. I work in a 4-star hotel as a waiter. I like to play golf for my days off. I've got an older brother or a younger sister. I once spent 6 months working in Spain during the summer. That's it. Like, it's not rocket science. They're not looking for you to be able to absolutely nail an interview there and then. But it's also a great tool for us to be able to showcase someone's personality, someone's appearance, and then like, oh yeah, I like the look of that person. definitely seem clean cut. Yeah, they definitely have some good experience. They're definitely able to chat and talk. Like, I'd probably get hard. But then also, those 4 questions are the questions they're going to ask you. So it's like, there's your practice for your interview that you're going to have in a couple of weeks' time. So that's sort of like the process we use. And really, like, it's just about giving yourself the best opportunity to impress clubs who, as you said, have thousands of people looking for 20, 30 or 40, or in Boca West's case or Woodfield's case, maybe 300 or 400 positions. They are spoiled for choice right now. And so the least you can do is make sure your resume is up to date. Sure, it is a resume. It's not just the copy and paste off Indeed. And make sure you attach a profile picture, not you in your shorts on the beach or dressed up for a night out, like just something from the shoulders up. This can be a perfect background. And then do yourself a favor, and like for the Irish and UK people, complete profile assessment, complete the video clips, and from there, just listen to what the recruiter or the talent agent you're working with is trying to tell you, because we're trying to help you achieve and succeed and get picked for one of these clubs.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, especially for those front-facing positions where you are seeing the guests all the time to showcase that you're able to speak and communicate efficiently. Well, important. I'm wondering if you have any tips for the clubs, so the clubs and companies, to secure top talent of employees.
Yeah, I think for the clubs, like, it's always going to revolve around getting in first. So like the clubs, in my opinion, the clubs could probably help themselves by having some sort of an online academy to where people who maybe don't have all the experience that a club are looking for have access to, so they can maybe do a little bit of online training, add that to their resume. So when they get to the interview stage, they've already invested and showed that I really am interested and keen about this. I think the clubs should be utilizing Zoom interviews a lot more than trying to travel to do face-to-face interviews. People aren't really interested in spending an hour and a half, 2 hours traveling to a location for a 15-minute interview, spend an hour, 2 hours traveling home. Like, they're busy. They've got stuff going on in their lives. They're out enjoying a bit of a day off. We see 3 or 4 times bigger turnouts for Zoom interviews than we do for face-to-face interviews. And then I think from that, like, they really need to act fast and act quick, because, you know, we're only one option, our agency. There's loads of agencies around the world that are recruiting for H2Bs for these clubs. Yeah. You have to have comparing. Colleagues need to look at the tipping part of it, because definitely I know when it comes down to people who are in country, the clubs they choose to pick are the clubs who allow them to collect tips. The clubs they choose to stay away from are the clubs who say a no tipping policy, to offer the ability first to have definitely get to pick of the litter, as opposed to clubs that force people to have to share bedrooms. Definitely going and investing people into cards for the data and sort of with, yeah, it's like anything nowadays. It's just harder and harder to attract the younger generations to want to get somebody who's interested. You have to move it, and you have to make it as easy as possible for them. You have to really get them engaged in the onboarding process from the start. I know here at B, we're pretty much 24/7 access for all of the people we deal with through to be Slack, then it was Pumble, now we're on WhatsApp, we're developing our own. Like, they want it, how they want it, on their time, and typically it's not email, it's not phone calls, it's a push message through a phone is what they're looking to get. And they also really want to feel like they are genuinely part of a team. So the quicker I can get an offer letter, and let's say it's Sarah, and Sarah's accepted and she's joining Boca West, and get her into the Boca West club channel, and they can all start chatting and getting to know each other and spending time understanding each other, the better chance I have that Sarah is actually going to feel like oh, okay, it's not just me, there's somebody else doing this with me and traveling with people. I'm not on my own. Oh, I really like Mary and Anne, who I was talking to, and I think we're going to live together. And now it's getting exciting, not scary, but you have to have that engagement to where they can talk with their team members and understand who it is who will be living and working with.
Yeah. And I know that really helped with me and many others when we did get to meet the potential people we'll be working with, that we'll be rooming with, and beforehand to have those conversations of making friends with people you're going to work and live with even before the time comes as well.
100%. Probably the best feedback we get each year, and the thing that we're probably the proudest of, is that we continually have relationships with the people that we work with. And I suppose proof in the pudding is here we are now, years later, and we're jumping on and we're trying to do this sort of podcast together to share this insight and information with people who are interested in it. But, you know, people who are even now in management position, maybe some people are back in Ireland, and, you know, we still reach out, we'll touch base and ask for an advice, or I'll ask them for advice on something. And like, that's hugely important because, as I said, that younger generation, the 20-year-olds, the 30-year-olds, for them, it's really, really part of their DNA to be part of something and to be able to make a difference. They don't just want to rock up and be told what to do every day of the week.
Yeah. And I think what's important, like the people who are returning on H2B visa who have maybe a little bit more of a experience and know what to look for in the club, they may be a little more pickier and choosier for which club they do choose to go with. From my experience and from others' experience as well, what they're going to be looking for in a club is everything that goes into their life. So where they live, where the location is, how much rent is deducted out of their paycheck, how much transport is deducted out of their paycheck, what amenities does their housing have, and is overtime available, what is the pay rate, how much money can they make, who's going over on the season, how many employers are there, what is the general feel they get from the interview of how the management is, do they care about their employee, do they have a general knowledge of how the H2B visa works already, do start to look a little bit more into those luxuries of having furnished apartments or having a place to cook or having better meals provided from work as well, which is a good opportunity for companies to be able to stand out a little bit more in that way as well, or even to advertise that a little more in their posters, because I know a lot of companies have posters that they try to attract talent and to really showcase what the employee would be looking for, how they make their decision as well.
Yeah, something that I think of here at B is sort of, if we're asking all of these people who want to secure H2Bs to jump on and record 4 or 5 video clips so we can then use that material to showcase them to the clubs, why aren't our clubs giving us some video material so we can showcase that to the people which clubs they do? We want to here's to recreation manager, because the people, because again, I would sort of argue that 20 to 30-year-olds don't read text and they're really not interested in picture. It's video. They just want to be able to pick up their phone, listen to something for 30, 45 seconds and go, yeah, I think work for that guy. And then they're happy to really invest into doing an interview.
And that makes sense. If they're going to put in the effort of the interview, why not the company? So it makes sense to have it that way for climber jobs too.
Yeah. And at the moment, we're actually just finishing up one for a new club we're working with up in Connecticut, who are looking for 4 J1s for a 12-month trainee management program. And we've sort of even just pushed the boundaries a little bit further, and we're showing them, actually, this is what Old Greenwich in Connecticut is like, and these are the beaches and the bars and the restaurants, and here's how far you are from New York, and here's like all the fun, cool things you can do on your days off. Because as we just, the more and more we discussed it, it was like, so that's great. Like, we've shown a bit of a look at the club and the salaries, and we've had a little interview of who the hiring managers and the team leaders are. But like, really, like, if with my 26-year-old niece and she's going over there, she's like, I want to know, like, where am I going shopping? What am I doing at night time? What are the bars and restaurants like? What are the beaches like? Because yes, I understand I'm going to a full-time job, but by God, is it the beaches and that and with that going to really excite me and attract me to want to be there?
Yeah, because that's the difference of, do we want to go to, are people planning to go to a location just to work, or to actually experience a life for 8 months? And realities are, they are going to experience in a life for 8 months, and they are going to have days off and time off and want to have a nice lifestyle as well as working.
Yeah, 100%. I teach, and again, I always refer to the 20 and 30-year-old, to the, definitely to that age bracket. It's very evident to see it's all about work-life balance. And they don't just say it as like, and we do, like the 46-year-olds will talk about work-life balance, but we work. And my nieces who are both in their 20s, it very much is work-life balance. Like, yes, I am working, but I'm going to go and enjoy my downtime, my evenings, my weekends. And that's hugely important if I'm going to stay somewhere long-term. And I think when clubs look at the initial investment into bringing people over on a H2B, hoping that they'll actually stay and utilize all 3 years of their H2B, the only way that's going to happen is if somebody genuinely has a great work-life balance and they really are being rewarded for what they're bringing to the table and enjoying their downtime and their days off.
I actually had a good experience with one of the clubs who even organized days out and organize activities and events for the employees, which was definitely a step above and beyond, which we all loved as well.
Yeah, for sure. Unfortunately, I think that's where we're going to have to leave it for today, Per. I've got another little Zoom call I'm about to jump on as well, but great catching up with you. Please send some of it over our way here to Ireland. I'm definitely ready to top up the little bit of time I got at the start of the year.
Will do.
And for anyone who is looking to get a hold of us, you can get me pretty easy. It's be.ie. We've got all the social handles out there as well, only with B. And you can definitely get a hold of Sarah as well online. What are they, Sarah?
Yeah, so you can just search my name, Sarah Crofts, YouTube, live the life you desire, or just search H2B visas, and I'll probably pop up somewhere. Well,
enjoy the rest of the week. Enjoy the dog sitting, and we will catch up again next week.
Great.
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye.